Today I have Alex Stanilla. How do you say that?
Yeah, that's it. It's
Stanilla?
like vanilla.
Word.
Yep.
I wanted to make that joke, but you already beat me to it. So, all right.
Yeah.
Um, so how are you doing in this whole
Good.
bullshit we got going on right now? This is the first time I'm kind of like talking about this on the podcast because I've had Mikey on here like right before it was quarantine time, and
Yeah.
I miss having people in front of me and talking to them. So whatever,
Yeah.
this works just as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine. It's yeah, I'm pretty adjusted, I guess. Not too It really hit me today, like it hasn't even been 2 months of this. And as far as like pandemics go, that's such a short time. Like the 1918 flu was like 2 years. The bubonic plague was so long, they lost track of what year it was. Like they lost so much time.
Wow, holy
So
shit.
that it's only been 2 months, I'm like, it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, are you keeping busy? Are you been productive?
Yeah,
Getting
I'm
any new
super
things
busy.
in the works?
Definitely. Um I've actually been thinking I've been like possibly grinding too hard. Like last night I really hit like a wall and my brain was just fried and I'm like I need to not do anything for a couple days.
That's kind of how I feel, man. Like I've been just writing, and I just sit in this fucking chair all day anymore, and
Mhm.
it's just bullshit. I spent so much money on a chair recently, and it still hasn't come in the mail
Okay.
because like my back sucks and shit. So
Mm.
I just like I don't know, it's worth it, but um, I feel like I've been productive in the sense of like I don't even know what day it is anymore. Like I have to like I haven't like looked at a calendar in so long. There's nothing
Yeah.
like planned anymore.
Have you had like a what day is it panic moment yet? I get those every once in a while where like it'll really hit me. I have no clue what day it is and I'll like kind of freak out for a couple seconds.
I mean, like I wouldn't say freak out, but it's certainly like a dissociating feeling of like, oh, where am I? Like, what's going
Yep.
on? I kind of like it sometimes, but it's not good.
It's wild.
It's not a good thing. All right, so let's get down to some of the brass tacks of like what I like to talk
Brass
about on this
tacks.
show.
Cool.
So I've kind of burned through your discography a few times, and I've always like kind of passively listened to your stuff whenever I would see it posted and whatnot. But
Mm.
like, well, first off, just like what is like how did you get started doing music? What was like your oh shit, I want to pick up that instrument, or like oh I want to start doing that, or someone forced you doing something like what do you think? What was that like push off moment for you? So we were like, oh, I'm doing this now.
Yeah. Um, Definitely during high school and um, went through like big. I was really into playing sports, and then I kind of like that phased out. Like I just was on a very different vibe from all the guys playing sports, and actually got cut from the basketball team. I loved playing basketball. Didn't make the team.
Hmm.
Was like that whole like identity was gone. You know what I mean? Um, and just like very angsty. But it was like really around that exact same time I started listening to Chiodos and like post-hardcore music, like that very angsty. And like so much of that lyricism was about sort of being like an outcast or not fitting in or like trying to find yourself. And I was like really identifying with that. So I was into that and Tom DeLonge solo project, Boxcar Racer.
Oh my god, yeah. Like
Yeah,
I don't if I don't know if it's on any of the podcasts I put out yet, but I always fucking gush about any of those projects from like 2003 and
yes,
uh like that's
and
definitely the angst vibe, perfect for high school. And I totally get that too,
yeah,
because like you're either sports or fucking like music or something when you're that young, you know. Like, so when you
yeah,
like get cut, like it's like, what the fuck do I do now? You know, it's
yeah.
and
And it took
that's
me.
funny, yeah. All right, so I'm sorry, to
I had
interrupt you.
actually no, you're good. And even like I actually found like a rap I wrote when I was like young, like probably like not even a teenager yet. Like I guess I was always like writing songs. I just didn't always know what I was doing. And like even during like all the time I was like playing sports and shit, I was always like writing songs, but thought it was like
Like super
queer or something,
passive,
you know what I
just
mean?
like,
Like I
oh,
was
this
like,
isn't really anything. I'm just
yeah, and
writing
I
a
was also like,
song.
this is soft. Like this is what guys who wear like tight pants, you know what I mean? Like I was like, I don't want to do this. Um, but then yeah, I just after I got cut, I did start sitting down with a guitar more, had a guitar, and I did that thing where like you play another song but write your song over it. So I was doing that with all those like Tom DeLonge songs, like putting my own words
I
over
think
the melodies
I
and
think like
shit.
so many fucking people were doing that with those, like if you listen to those songs and like wanted to be a musician, I feel like a lot of people like looked at those songs like, oh, that's how you do a song. I just fucking play 3, 5, and 7, and that's a verse. Oh,
Yeah.
that's easy. Or like they look at like Travis Barker and they're like, oh, I fucking do some crazy fucking fill, and that's how I go into the next
Yeah.
thing. And I gotta
Yeah.
sing like this and talk about
Yeah.
butter. I mean summer. Every time I hear Mark Hoppus fucking say summer, my head replaces it with butter every time, and I just
Huh.
don't know why. Like he would make the best "I can't believe it's not butter" like commercial or
Oh my
whatever.
god.
It'd be perfect.
That's coming. Like when he can no longer sell a Blink record, he'll be doing stuff like that when he's like 70
Oh
and
my
like
fucking god! It's just
ooh.
him and a drum machine, like he kicks out Travis too, or some shit
Yeah.
like that. Travis is just like,
Yeah,
man, I'm
exactly.
done playing drums, singing about high school shit. I'm
Yeah.
gonna search for aliens too.
Or even sadder, like maybe like at that point, like Travis has like diabetes and can't play drums
No,
anymore. It's just,
no, he's so scrawny. You think he'd get like,
just
he's got like a bone problem or something, you know?
yeah,
Oh man, don't say that. I almost had a heart attack
I
when the
know.
plane crash, a whole drama thing happened. You know, that freaked me the fuck out.
That was wild. Dude, he actually so there's a studio up the like 10 minutes up the road from me. I live in Lebanon right now. Very small town. The studio's in Palmyra. It's like close to Hershey. And last summer Blank was playing at Hershey and Travis needed to like lay down a recording. And my friends run the studio. So he like hit them up super last minute and like recorded at like 1 in the morning at this tiny little hole in the wall studio in Palmyra, Pennsylvania.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
What'd they have
He
to
said he
do
was
that
like,
for?
it was like some single that I guess it was for like a British American Idol kind of show, and some dude won. They wanted to like pump out a single really quickly, and they wanted Travis Barker to play drums on it. And it just all happened so fast, and that was seriously like the only studio within a certain range of Hershey, and they made it happen.
That's fucking magical. Fuck, that's so cool.
Yeah, yeah, and it literally like he laid down the tracks in like 3 takes, and he was like in and out. Like he wasn't there like 45 minutes. Like came in, did his thing, bounced.
Yeah, well, it's fucking. He's been doing it for so long. How hard it is to do.
Yeah,
just whatever the
Yep.
fuck he's probably doing. Some
Yep.
like yeah, those records were always at least self-titled made me really like question what you could do to a record. Like oh, you can just
Hmm.
put a weird interlude in there with like Pink
Yeah.
Floyd-esque guitars and then go right back to not your average Blink song. It's like, is those shakers and
Yeah.
clicks and maracas in the beginning of this fucking track? And then it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really think self-titled is like next level on a lot of ways. Very overlooked if it's not
Me
overrated.
too.
You know, um,
Yeah, people hate that one.
really really crazy record. So like Boxcar Racer and shit. Did you like? What was your first instrument? Did you start picking up guitar and shit?
Technically, it was the violin when I was younger. I started playing when I was five or
Oh
six.
shit.
But then again, that whole like sports thing happened, and I thought it was like not cool to play violin, so I stopped. But yeah, probably played for like 8 years.
Oh shit.
Took lessons and stuff. Yeah, I was
Was
yeah, it was cool.
were you like actually like playing the violin? I know a lot of people that like, oh, I played this instrument for a long time as a kid, but like, like they
Yeah,
couldn't even pick it up now. Like, do you still fiddle with that? No
right.
pun intended.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I bought my mom one for Christmas a couple years ago. She hasn't been playing it, so whenever I go over, I'll just like mess around with it. And I do want to get one again. But yeah, the muscle memory is still there. I can definitely still do it.
Like, that's like the one thing I could never figure out. Like, we had one for a while, and my cousin is even this like orchestra violinist
Mm.
and like really fucking good, and like they've been playing for years. They're older and shit. They're like my dad's age, and
Mm.
they try to give me some lessons. I just can't fucking make that instrument sound good, and
Hmm.
I can't sit through me being terrible for hours to make it sound good. It's when I can just turn and be like, pick up a keyboard, or like download a
Right.
sample, or like hit someone up who can fucking play, and then just there it is.
Yeah.
I'd rather that. Like violin has always been the one that escapes my sausage fingers.
Yeah, it's definitely a skinny fingers game.
Fuck, totally. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
maybe like I should try like cello or something, but whatever.
Definitely, yeah.
One of the fatter boys.
Cello or
So like,
those basses.
did you have any bands growing up?
No, not really.
Yeah,
I
so like
was
violin, what was
always
after violin? Like you stopped, you got kicked off the basketball team, high school. What did you start picking up after that? Did you just start going straight to the
yeah, then there
computer
was
or
it was a guitar. Yeah, I
classic?
got into the guitar. Um and got one of those like little 8-track recording
Like
home
to
studio
cassette?
things. It was to CD.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, it would just burn a CD right there for you that I could hand out at school then and then get made fun of for
Yeah, that's how it
my
goes.
very yeah, because I was again very much going for that whiny Tom DeLonge thing,
Mm-hmm.
which when Tom DeLonge does it, everybody loves it. But when I was trying to do it as a high school kid, like nobody was into it.
Honestly, not a lot of people
They
love the Tom DeLonge thing. Like, I'm surprised how many people are
right,
still following Blink like today on how just milk toast they are. Just absolute boring. I don't know.
yeah.
Uh, that's cool. Okay, when did you start like recording yourself? Like, was that like I mean, like with a computer and shit, like with beats and stuff? Because
Yeah,
this
that took a while.
it took a while.
That Yeah, that was when I was in Seattle, which was like two probably like 5 years ago at this point, 2015. Yeah, it took me a while to like It was really as simple as plugging my keyboard into my laptop. Like I had always wanted to make music like that, and I used to do it like longhand with like actually like a keyboard and like playing the beats. And I just couldn't figure out MIDI until there was a day where it's like, no wait, my keyboard has a USB thing on the back. I wonder what happens when I plug that into Logic. I was like, oh my god, this is it. Like that's how all this works. I had no idea.
That's fucking fun, man.
And then,
That's honestly like my favorite part of production is just learning that thing you wanted to learn how to do, and you're like, oh, it was just
yeah,
that, and then you just have all day to play around with that new.
yeah,
Uh, I don't even know, like attachment of your subconscious to create these sounds.
yeah.
It's just awesome
That's
feeling, man. What was like the program?
yeah. It was Logic.
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 I'm
Yep.
pretty sure that's what Brandon does. Buck the Lackey and like People Eating Fruit and
Yeah.
shit. He like literally has a drum pad and smacks that shit in for all of his stuff. If
Yeah.
not, he just takes a loop of it or something and then just
Yeah.
yeah. And that's how I used to do it too. Like when I had no fucking clue what I was doing. I literally just picked up this Korg micro right here and I would just plug it into Mixcraft for PC, and which is
Hmm.
basically GarageBand, and just make sound on top of sound until I was like, how do I do a beat? And then figuring out
Yeah.
MIDI and I didn't even get the grid, and I'm like a drummer, and I'm like looking at this grid, I'm like, how do you do it? It was just so mind-boggling for a while until you get like FL Studio or something like Logic that like really helps you just make that shit, you know?
Yeah.
Really
Yeah. The grid was like a whole new. The grid took me a while to figure out too, but that was another cool feeling the day that I'm like, oh, these are the hits. This is 2 and 4, and that's all you need to know forever, basically.
like I'm like looking at them and I'm just like that kind of makes sense, but what? Like I don't know. And I think I just like had all the snaps off too, so like I could never get them like perfect on each other and shit, no matter how I tried
Yeah.
using my shitty trackpad on the laptop I'm using. Uh, that was so wacky. But yeah, beginnings are everything, man. That's
Yeah.
it's always a good time. So like, were you ever in a band?
Not really. Nothing. Was only ever like either jamming or practicing with people. But yeah, never really clicked with a band type,
Just like
for
working on
better or
your own.
worse.
Like, is it like waiting on people or like no one like fits your time, or is it like your ideas or what?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair. That's a
And
lot how I
I
am
think
too, man.
yeah, and I'm like uber ambitious, and I think it I can hear it way sooner than I can make it happen for to show somebody. So there's just like I've been trying to make a band for like the past 3 years, and I'll have people over to like jam, and it'll sound like shit because I'm like I'm still trying to figure all this out. Trust me, it'll be cool. Like just and people just like they'll just take it at face value, and it's like if you can't do it now, you'll never be able to do it. And I'll be like, just give me like 3 weeks. I'll have all this down and have like this sample ready to go, and we'll trigger it here. And trust me, it'll be cool. Like, but for now, we have to figure it out like this, and it's gonna suck. Yeah, so I haven't quite found that like those people that I mesh with that are willing to like stick it out.
That
And then
that is
like
definitely like the hardest part is starting, especially when you want to do something cool with like triggering or whatever the fuck else you were just saying. Like
yeah,
if you want to do anything like not traditional, it takes a couple practices of just totally figuring it out and it's sounding like shit. Yeah, like that's hard to sit
Yeah.
through. Especially if you don't know what you're doing. Like if they're sitting there and they're like, "The fuck's a trigger?" You know, like it's
Yep.
even harder to project like that. It's gonna be cool.
Yep. So it's become so much easier to like I'll just make all the sounds with my laptop and like book shows that way. Um yeah. 'Cause, I mean, I do know like I have friends that like I feel like they've been like waiting on that perfect band too for years, and like that whole time I've been like touring and shit, and I'm like yeah, it will be cool once you get your band made, but that whole time that you've been trying to put it together, like could have been seeing the world with your music, you know what I mean? Like don't wait for people to like make it cool.
Exactly. Like I can't tell you how many projects I tried to start with people where it was like originally supposed to be like with someone else like the whole time or like multiple people and we play live and then it just became another Forest Kid alias and because it's like, well, if you're not gonna fucking finish
Yep.
this, I am and I'm gonna put it out and I'm gonna
Yeah.
fucking do this and this is gonna be my thing.
Yeah. Now, do you play shows with your Forest Kid aliases?
Um unless like someone hits me up specifically to do a specific alias, I'll perform as the collective and I'll just
Cool.
play like a mix of everything and go from genre to genre. But like I really don't play out too much. I don't look for it. Like
Yeah.
cuz I don't have the live setup I would like to have to make it easy on
Mm.
myself and to make it cool and to make it different and at least the way I want it to be. So until then, maybe I'll start playing live, but I don't really look for it, and I don't have a very digestible setup to like be like, hey, I can play at your bar, and everyone would have a great time. Like I can make a mix of that, but it's like I don't know. It's almost like fake if I'm like just playing
Mm.
all the bangers that are like that sound similar. Like, and I could pull from 2013 tracks that would go good, and
Right.
it's just a weird thing. And I'd rather not go through that and just keep releasing music and working on my online presence because that's what I really care about is like people just fucking listening to it and
Right.
yeah, maybe when the equipment gets right, shows will be a thing. What do you use for your
Definitely.
live performance?
Yeah, I've been through the ringer. I've tried like so many different. Right now it's I just I make a like an MOV like um visual and then have like my backing track as like the audio. So it's just like a video file and I play it with a projector off my laptop. I used to like I used to use this program called Mainstage, which is pretty tight. You can like it's kind of like a poor man's Ableton Live, but you can like it just made it a little bit more interactive and like live, even though I was like just playing samples back and I would play guitar and keyboard and sing. And it was just way too much.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Like
then I
doing all that shit.
yeah.
It's like I'm not lugging all this fucking shit by myself to play 30 minutes. Like
And
what?
and every other band and sound guy hates you
Yeah, exactly.
because it's so much shit to set up. Half the time you don't even play it right because you're trying to be too many
And you're
things.
trying to plug all this shit in.
Um,
You're like, why isn't this coming? And you're like, they don't know that the channel's on mute or fucking something. And then the guy hits like unmute on there, it blares everything. You're always that fucking
yeah,
guy, some shit, because you're trying to reset up a studio in 5 fucking minutes.
yeah, yeah. I was playing a show in Muncie, Indiana, and the sound guy, like the whole day, I was like chilling at the thing. Sound guy's like, yeah, we just got all this new stuff installed. It sounds sick. It sounds like it took him like an hour to get sounds to come out of my setup. Like it just couldn't figure it out. and I think it's more like, I don't even know, but it was just like, I felt so bad. I'm like, dude, I'll just sing and play guitar. Like we don't need to. But I felt like such an asshole with like, because at that point I had like 8 inputs between like the different
Oh
interfaces
my
and keyboards and
god.
you know what I mean? Like it was just too. I was just too extra with it. So now I'm like, all right, laptop, vocal, make it easy on everybody.
Yeah. It takes a lot of money, I feel, to have a setup that's also not your home setup, to where it's just
Yeah,
always ready to go for your live stuff. And it's like you're not grabbing your headphones from the studio. You're not grabbing anything. You're just grabbing the fucking hard drive maybe and the laptop and the charger.
yep,
And then you just go in the fucking bag and you have that. Open it up, all plugged in already. You plug in your laptop to it.
yeah,
That's how you do it. But
right,
until then, it's
yep,
not fucking worth it at all. Like, oh my god.
nope,
I feel like it's like that, and then it's like pedal board dudes, like for sound guys of
yes,
like
yes,
this hair rip out nonsense. I
yeah.
remember I couldn't get sound out of my guitar for like close to 10 minutes right before we're supposed to play, and it was just because my compressor was like level was all the way down, and
Got
like
you.
right before it was still on, so the level was just down. It wasn't off, and I was just like, fucking stupid me. It was painful for the sound guy to just like, you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's what they're getting paid for.
Yeah, fuck it, whatever, man. That's so they got
They
they can
gotta.
be less crabby. Fucking all right. So I have a couple other things I want to talk about that
Yeah.
really piqued my interest. Have you ever
Cool.
um first off, Wanna Be With You is like really hot. I really like that.
Thank you.
And that's one of your latest ones, and
Yeah.
I like that direction you're going in. Even though I
Thank
want
you.
to talk about Koala for a minute and a little,
Yeah.
but like, what was the inspiration for "Wanna Be With You"? Like, have you ever heard of INC, like Ink or whatever? It's oh
No.
my god, it's just it reminds me of that with like a little more energy. Like they're this
Cool.
real pretty vocal, like chill beats and shit like that. Kind of got that dark blue vibe you were having with that, and
Yeah.
yeah, what are you listening to right now that is giving you this vibe for like "Want to Be With You" particularly?
So that song's actually kind of older. It was just like sitting in the vault,
Mm.
and I never quite figured out. I've always been half like, I want somebody else to mix this because I think that they'll do really well with it, and then also like not knowing who would do the best job mixing it for how I want it to sound. So I just kind of kept tweaking that song for the past 2
Oh
years.
shit.
But that, you know what I mean? And then finally was like, all right, I should probably just drop this and move on. But at the time when I wrote it, I was on a big like Toro y Moi kick. Was into this dude who makes music called Daywave. You know Daywave?
Baywave?
Yeah.
Is it with a Y or E?
EWAVE. DAYWAVE.
Oh, Daywave.
Yeah.
Oh, then no, I don't think I know that. I've heard of Baywave.
Uh, yeah, there's so many.
Waves and shit out there. Fucking
And it's definitely yeah.
it's definitely what?
I was gonna say like, and he like his music is that like dime a dozen synth wave kind of stuff that sounds like everything, but for whatever reason, actually, I have like a weird. That was the first time internet advertising really got me with this artist. So like when I was living in Seattle, like an ad for this Daywave dude popped up in my Facebook thing. I'd never heard him before, but I was really like, that's a cool picture. I want to hear what this guy's music sounds like. 3 weeks later, he was actually coming to Seattle. So they were like advertising for his tour, which hadn't been announced yet. But it literally worked. Like, I'm like, damn, this guy's cool. He makes cool music. And I'm like, oh shit, he's playing near me. I gotta go see him. And then it later hit me. I'm like, oh my God, that was so manufactured and planned. Like, that worked so well. That got me so. And now I'm like, I'm a fan now, like forever.
Whatever,
I'm just
man.
like, I'll always remember
He's-
that ad and that tour date, and it just worked like clockwork. And I'm like, wow, they got me.
Fucking take a note out of his book for that. God damn.
Yeah, I've tried. It's actually kind of like I looked into it. He has like a team working for him. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
bet. Oh, I bet.
Yeah, like that's hard to pull off on your own.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can do it. You can do it, but like it's hard to do.
I just feel like it takes a lot to learn about like ads and placement and timing and
It's such
targeting
a
and
skill.
all of that stuff.
It's wild.
And like,
It's
apparently you can
such
like
a
make money off that apparently. Like, and I don't even get that. I have no idea. Um anyway. So what was it like working with Brian and Mikey and Buck? Like, were all those collabs like, physically did they just send you something? Were those like digital collabs?
Brandon's was the both with Brian and Mikey. We recorded in the room with each other.
Nice.
And I gotta say, I don't know if you record with Brian before. He's like the tightest, like most pro, like musician I've ever worked with. Like literally his parts, he had him done in like 5 minutes each take,
Oh yeah.
dead on.
Like he he's been around, man. Like I've
Yeah,
heard his name for years, and
right.
that's I've heard people talking about him the first time I heard people talking about him in 2015. So like
Yeah,
it, he's been around so much where that shit does not surprise me. I mean, like podcasting with him was a goddamn pleasure, and
yeah.
fucking he's on this track for Bleached Bison, which I'm like kind of developing the comic for right now. So like when
Okay.
that's done, the album will come out and he'll be on that. And he's doing like some weird ass parts on there. I had him pretend he was like what was it? Like a news reporter from the 80s or some shit.
Huh.
It's like a cheesy news at 9 news reporter, and it's gonna be really funny and like cool and campy, the whole thing.
That's great.
Yeah, Brian's a real G. Always appreciated him.
Yeah.
Fucking Mikey, that was a good song. Speaking of Brian, that fucking song, Basement.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration for that? I just want to hear what you gotta say about that.
Yeah, it was like definitely like half a joke and half like legit frustration and anger with like doing DIY music. And like um I had my mom's work employed me to make like a parody of Old Town Road for she works at Wick, and I guess there's like a Wick thing where there's like a gonna take my family down to Wick, and you make like your own song out of it. So they were like, you can just play guitar and sing or whatever. But I was like, no, I want to try and like figure out how to make like a beat like this. So I started like messing around with like trap beats just for shits and giggles. and then had all these beats laying around that were like practice to try and get that like Old Town Road thing down. And then yeah, I just started writing this like angsty walrus rap
Walrus.
about the DIY scene. Yeah, Walrus Eyes is that project.
Is that what?
That's that's that project's moniker is Walrus Eyes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask about that because it says it on the cover, and
Right, it's under. I had the cheap distro kit at the time, and you can only release under one artist. And I was like, I don't. Yeah, I guess I could re-release. I don't know if I want to make a whole nother account just for Walrus Eyes.
well,
You know what I
well,
mean? Like I'm.
you can use
Uh,
a like root note and shit like that. We could talk about that
what is
afterwards.
it?
It's a free site.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I'll get you a link afterwards. If you
Word.
ever got
Yeah,
extra time for that. Um,
definitely.
now, have you ever listened to Why?
Yes.
Okay.
I love
Now, I
Why.
got a lot of flavors of that listening through
Nice.
Koala, and
Oh, cool.
like super good record. And I
Thank
saw in the
you.
bio it's fucking like 4 years of tracks basically. Um,
Yeah.
but it was recorded in 2017. Uh, what do you mean by that? In the sense of like you recorded more in 2019, or you just produced it and like did some other stuff after it was recorded, or
Yeah, I recorded it and dropped it in 2017 and then just ended up re-recording it entirely and adding some more songs.
entirely like from
Yeah.
scratch? Like you didn't take any other part from it, and
Just like the MIDI beats
yeah, I mean
that are
the
on it.
simple shit, yeah, and maybe spice them up
Yeah,
for
but
sure.
right, but yeah, for the most part every instrument, vocal, and it really was just cuz like I got new shit and I was trying it out. Like I got this cassette recorder and I wanted to like reference what the old stuff sounded dry versus through this cassette recorder. So I wasn't planning on re-releasing it, but it just ended up this like kind of cool fun thing where I'm like, I wonder what my vocals sound like through this. I wonder what this sounds like. And then before I know, I'm like, holy shit, I re-recorded the whole thing. And I was like, I have these 4 other songs that I wrote during that time that are just sitting around. I might as well drop it again.
And so
Now that
you,
it's
so you
like
added some
it's
more
better.
tracks to it in this later
Yeah,
release.
yeah.
What tracks were new? Because I really dug Hide and Dexter Avenue. Dexter,
Yeah.
like those were fucking sick. Like we should. I really want to collab on something like Hide. He or
Yeah.
Hide, however the fuck you say that. Um,
Yeah, hide.
yeah, I'm an idiot. I can't read or spell. Anyway,
Hey, it's
but
Day. I like that.
yeah, I saw you got a postal service influence there. Fucking
Yeah.
Ben Gibbard fan, or
Yes.
and do you fan of Dentel too? Yeah,
Yeah.
word.
Yeah, Dental was huge when I was writing that album. So most of that album was written when I was still living in Seattle in like 2015,
Yeah,
2016.
of course you're listening to Death Cab up in
And
Seattle.
that was all I was listening to was that Dental record, the like
Life is full of
We Become
possibilities.
the Yes. That is like all I was
That's
listening
such a
to.
great record.
Yeah, there's something about it. It's like really good. There's a lot of hills in Seattle, and it's a great sit on a hill. Like you're kind of angled and listen to that album record for some reason. Like I found that was just the best place to listen to it.
The,
You're kind of like falling all the time, and you're kind of balancing.
because it is a really unsettling but comfortable feeling, like the whole
Yeah,
time. Like I
yeah,
remember like looping "Why Am I So Unhappy" like several times, or Umbrella, and
Mm-hmm.
what's that one song? How can you love me when you don't love yourself?
Yeah.
What's that
I don't
song?
remember the names right now,
It's
but
like it's like the track three or some shit. Somebody, anyone, or something like that. And
something like that.
that song, oh my god, like a lot of those tracks really opened my mind to like, was like another very inspiring record of like, oh shit, you could do that with the song. And then like in the middle
Yeah.
of the track it's just and here's Ben Gibbard, by the way. It's like, what's he doing here? It was just a
Yeah.
great fucking time, man. Like, I'm glad we share that same inspiration, because
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
hear a
That
bit of that in Koala for sure.
nice. Hell yeah. Yeah. Love that album. Love that vibe.
So tell me more about that record. Like, what was it like writing it and like producing it? Like, what was like your ideas behind it?
Yeah, it was very fun. It was definitely like that was definitely like the first like electronic making beats. I just figured out how to do this album. Before that I was making like kind of like folky, like just acoustic music, but I always wanted to do like the postal service thing, you know?
Well, it definitely has a lot of folk elements in there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was like probably 65% folk sounding, at least.
Wow, cool. Yeah. Yeah, so it really is just like these folk songs made into like more wavy, I guess, songs. Um, but yeah, it was very fun to like, and like two songs, I think Dog Sweater and Arcadia were like the first songs that I like got the grid and got like programming beats down.
Arcadia is a cool one. I do
Like
like
the
that song too.
Thanks. And that one like that really changed. So actually there is like an older version of the album still on Bandcamp. Um and that the older one is way less polished, way more manic. Um, I actually got in a car accident in the middle of like recording it. It's like a head-on collision, and it was very much like, damn, I just want to put this album out now. Like even though it's like
Damn,
really
man, I
raw
know
and
I
you
know
know what
you
I
want to
mean?
put the album out, but you can't be recording and driving at the same time. That's fucking crazy, dog.
Ah, that was it. That was it. My lawyer actually doesn't want me to talk about it anymore, but no, I'm just kidding. No, that case is totally that's all over now. But yeah, I I don't know if like I haven't gone back and listened to it, but like thinking about it too, I'm like, yeah, that was I definitely wanted to just like have like just put something out um that sounded like that because I was like stoked on the sound. You know, I'd never made music like that before. I'm like, I can do it now. I know how to do it. And it's do you ever read any David Foster Wallace?
No, but that name is extremely familiar. What is that again? Who is he
Yes.
a part of again?
So he wrote a book called Infinite Jest. It's like a huge book. It's like over 1,000 pages. And I was reading that too while I was recording it. And like a lot of words from Infinite Jest are album titles or themes on the album. But David Foster Wallace, after I put the album out the first time, I watched an interview with him where he talked about because David Foster Wallace has like a cool story. He wrote this like best-selling novel when he was like in his early 30s, which is like unheard of. And then he could have lived off that, but he wanted to like teach. So he like became like a writing teacher at Illinois, some school. And he said he learned more about like writing by teaching than actually writing more. But he talked about, and he definitely did this in Infinite Jest, where he said he wanted to like prove his genius to his audience, where he like made it so crazy and like out there, and as a way of being like, look what I can do. And he's like, actually like an even better writer would be like more controlled, and he said his students really taught him that. Like they would learn how to do something and then just want to like show it off. And I was like, damn, that's definitely what I was doing with this album. Like I was definitely like, there's so many parts in it where I'm like, I can do this. Like I want to show you I can do it, unless like it's what the song needs or it's what. But I definitely got a lot out of my system writing that album.
So very
You
therapeutic.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those are the best albums. I mean, if you're not getting anything out of it, what the fuck's the purpose of
Hell yeah.
writing it?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
can you tell me anything about Hide? Is there anything specific about that track? Because I thought that was really cool.
Nice. Yeah. It's definitely it was kind of interesting, like it was written, so my mom's maiden name is Hyde, like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And that is like a dynamic that I'm very interested in, like the total both ends of like a spectrum. And it was written during like one of those weeks, I think like in 2017, where it was like, I think it was like early March or late February, and it was like beautiful one day and then huge snowstorm the next day. And that like dynamic was like really in my head of like, and then I was also very interested in the time in trans women for whatever reason, just like the story of being, because there's actually like a huge trans community here in central Pennsylvania. And I was just like fascinated by like the stories of these women, and sort of like not being afraid to be what you're really feeling. And that was something I really wanted to write about. So I think I started writing that song on like a Wednesday. That Saturday night, I went with a buddy. His band was playing a show in Harrisburg, and it was like a venue that had tables. So I was like sitting at these tables, and these two trans women walked in and sat right next to me. And I still had this like song in my head. I was still trying to write it. And we just like got to talking with them and like hearing their life story, and like became Facebook friends. And I was just like, man, it's so wild that I've been like on this like kick of these stories, and now I'm like really like interacting with these two women. And yeah, I kind of incorporated parts of their conversation in like the songwriting.
Cool.
And sort of the the one woman, she I can't say her name obviously, but she literally is Frank Monday through Friday. She's a man, goes out in the world to her job,
do the bullshit
then
9 to 5.
and then Friday night through Sunday night she's a different person, and she goes out and she wears dresses and sort of lives this double life. Which I'm like, hell yeah, like that's so cool. Like you're doing you. So I kind of wanted the song to have like a start off one way and end a totally different way.
It's certainly a bittersweet thing. I mean, on one hand, empowerment, in the sense of you make it work for your environment, but it's just a shame that you have to compromise your life and live
Right.
this double life. And
Right.
I kind of felt those vibes in that song, and that's cool. Very cool, man.
Cool.
Good shit. Good
Thank you.
good messages and stuff. And anything to say about Dexter
Thank you.
Avenue too? That was probably top for me. That was a really cool
Cool.
track.
Cool. Yeah, that was the street that I lived on in Seattle. And yeah, would just sing that like just walking to and from wherever. This like cheesy, I want it to be like a cheesy 80s song.
That's probably why I like it so much.
Yeah, and actually a lot of it was also done by my friend Jamie, who's in a band from Ohio called New Cult. He really took that song and ran with it. Like I just sent him like guitar, vocal, and like drum, like a simple drum beat and stuff. and he like totally like he added all that synth, and like he just like totally revamped it
Damn.
in this like really awesome way. Yeah, so a lot of props to him too on that one.
Cool. Well, damn.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. Yeah,
Is
yeah.
there
Props to New Cult.
any other people that hopped on the album like that?
Let me see. I had a buddy play drums on 2 songs. Um, Plead the Filth really helped with the song Quiet
That's right. I
Kids.
did see that in the bio as well.
He same idea. I just sent him like keyboard and vocal, and I told him I wanted it to sound like a Kanye West song, and he just took it and ran with it. Um, Let me see. And then the drums or the chorus in Arcadia and Anhedonia. There's like those big drums that come in. Those were programmed by my friend Eric Fletcher. I brought him the songs, and he was like, "All right, that part's cool, but we can definitely make this way bigger." And he programmed those drum parts. Yeah.
Well, regardless,
So
I
for
just
the
kind of wanted to talk about that album for a minute because it's definitely like you can just
yeah
tell it's there a lot of time was put into it, and it's like a
yeah
grandiose body of work almost. Because I know you got more coming, and I just think that's really
yeah.
fucking tight. And
Thank you.
I'm glad I got to talk to you, man. Oh, really quick before we end, what's up with the podcast? Until I have a girlfriend, what's up with that?
Yeah. It's really just like it did sort of start as like a remedy to anxiety that I was having, where I really was not being super social and like hanging out with people. And I was listening to like a lot of podcasts to get like my social fix. So I was like, all right, I can merge these. Like I can start hanging out with people again and get some content out of it. So the first 4 I did, I was like, I'm gonna force myself to like go over to people's houses and record. And it really did help me get out of like a weird funk I was in. And actually, like, I've had friends and people I haven't talked to in years that listen to it and are like, we're in a similar thing or are in a similar thing. And they said it's sort of helped them get out of like a weird, yeah, just like a weird anxiety that I think is going around, unfortunately, where people, now more than ever, it's weird, like leaving the house can be so hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then the name came out of the first episode was with my friend Katie Trainer. I was originally going to call it Everybody Thinks They Can Do a Podcast. But she was like, nah, that's kind of mean. And she's like, why do you want to do a podcast? And I hadn't quite figured it out yet. And I was like, I don't know. Until I have a girlfriend, I might as well do this. I have all this time. She's like, that's the name. That's what you should go with.
That's where the
So
magic
I
comes
like that
from. When
name.
it's always those like, that's
Yeah.
it. Those like, what?
Yep. Yep.
I'm a big fan of letting the chips fall where they may, and that's kind of what we were talking about
Yes.
last night, really quick, like
Right.
on just like the process of da 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 on the keyboard and like hitting quantize or some shit, and like maybe it's not how you imagined it at first, but it's a totally different way. You're like, well, that works too. Fuck it, and you just keep going. And
Hmm.
I'm a huge fan of shit like that. How about you? Is that
Yes.
kind of your writing process for all these?
It used to be very, I want to say ego driven, where it was like, I wanted it to sound exactly like it did in my head.
Mm.
Because I'm like, I'm a genius and what's in my head needs to happen. That's pretty much how Qualia was. But now I'm way more like less married to that initial idea and willing to be like, maybe this song needs to grow and maybe it needs a bit of structure and a bit of, what I'm hearing in my head isn't what it needs. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to get more into that, and I like that too. The like, this is happening in the moment. This is cool, rather than trying to like sculpt a sound that you started off with.
Like totally imagination and trying to make it a physical. I don't. Yeah, I used to talk about how like when you plan shit out, it kind of loses that.
Mm,
Look at this new thing, because no matter how hard you try, I feel like it just won't be exactly as you're thinking. I mean, and maybe
right.
it does, but I don't think you'll be happy. I think it's a grass is always greener situation.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's like a dream, you know? You have a dream,
Oh yeah.
but you can never recreate that exact feeling or that. Yeah.
Well, at least like in the physical. I know a couple people that have recurring dreams that are awful.
Mm,
That's got to be a nightmare.
yeah.
I mean, no pun intended. God damn it.
That's two now. That's
Yeah.
great.
Fucking yeah, dude. Is there gonna be another type of koala release, or you gonna stick with these fun little singles for a while, or got an EP on the way?
Yeah.
What's next for you?
I have a song that I'm still working on with internal rhyme. Yeah, pretty much singles. I have like a bunch of singles in the vault that I keep downloading more plugins, and I keep going back and remixing shit. Have to be like, how do these work? And also like, damn, this sounds better. So I'm actually like chilling on songs that I've recorded like again 2 years ago, and just keep tweaking them. Not for like a perfection thing, but just like
Up to
yeah,
par.
let's
Bring
see
them
what it
up to
sounds like
par. You
now.
know, it's like you did
And I
that long
just
ago. You got all these new gadgets. Why not?
and I just learned how to do Verispeed
Hmm.
last Friday, and now I want to do it with everything. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a whole
It
nother
just
beast, and it's a lot of fun, man,
yeah,
doing shit like that.
yeah. So now I'm just kind of like spending so much time on that part of it that I'm not really. I definitely could drop an album, but I'm sort of yeah. I'm definitely more in like the fun singles. Uh, yeah, I've actually been talking to Brandon about writing a song about the algorithm right now,
The
and
algorithm.
how like just how people are like obsessed with the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
Like like all you hear people talk about is like we must appease the algorithm for our, you know what I
Yeah, to
mean?
get your post notice and shit.
Yeah. Um so we're working on like a stupid song about that. Yeah, just lots of like dumb. I have like a Reddit diss track. Like I keep getting in fights with Reddit
Oh my
moderators
god.
and getting kicked out of groups. So I wrote like a diss track, a walrus-sized diss track.
Nice, nice.
Um yeah, I'm kind of in like a silly song mode right now. It's fun.
That's fucking great, man. We'll keep doing it. They're fun. You got one in the
Yeah,
works, or is there
thank
one
you.
coming out soon?
No, it's
All
all
right. All soon
again
to
just
be
tweaking.
released.
Yeah,
All right. Cool, man. Well, appreciate you coming on the show,
yeah,
dog.
yeah. Thank you, Paul. This is great.
What?
Thank you, Paul.
Oh,
I
sorry.
appreciate it.
You cut out. But yeah, this
Oh,
was
wait.
a little difficult to do via video whatnot, and talking over Facebook and shit, but we did it.
Yeah, we did it.
Fucking did it.
Ain't no stopping us.
Fucking hopefully we can hang out in person sometime soon when this is all over.
Absolutely.
Uh yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for
Thank
tuning
you.
in. I'll see y'all next time.
Peace.